Okay, so now that you've scanned your drawing into the computer, we need to open it up in Photoshop. So there's a couple of different ways to do that. You can just come here to the opening screen of Photoshop and click Open. And I like to save all my images that I'm going to be working on the desktop. So I have a folder on the desktop of Skillshare images. I'm going to open up this scan. So another option is you can drag images from your Finder directly into Photoshop too. Just like this, you can just pull the icon and drag it into your Photoshop icon. You can also, when you're in Photoshop, go to File, Open, and the key command for that is Command O. So there's a couple different ways to open up images in there. The first thing I like to do with every image is to just go ahead and duplicate it. So I'm going to go to Image, Duplicate. This makes a copy. You can rename it. I'm going to press OK, and I'm going to close out of the original scan. So now we have a copy of the original scan, and the original scan is safe. So no matter what happens, if you make any kind of mistakes, you always have that original to go back to, and I think it's important to keep the original scan. It just saves you time if you end up messing up. Okay, so we're going to clean this up to make it completely black and white because we're going to isolate the line work. So basically we're separating the lines that we've created from the paper background so that we can put this on all different kinds of backgrounds and so that we have more control over the lines. So I'm going to go up to Image, Adjustments, and Levels, and the key command for that you can see right here is Command L. Then this dialog box will pop up and we're just going to click on these little triangle things and scroll them over, and you can see we're trying to get it to complete black and white. This is completely dependent on your drawing, the outcome you want for your drawing, how you want it to look. The only thing you need to make sure to do is to get the paper completely looking white. So that's going to depend on what kind of paper you use and all of that. I'm going to press OK. I'm going to unlock the background here by just double clicking on this lock. Press OK. And now we're going to select the black lines so we can isolate them from the background. So to do this, we're going to go into the Channels panel. So if you don't see this Channels option with your layers, in fact, if you don't see layers or any other options, you come up to Window and just make sure Channels is checked. So whatever's checked should be open. So if you're ever lose anything or close it by mistake, no big deal. Just come back into Window and find what you're looking for and make sure it's checked. So we're in Channels. You should just see gray. Now if you see different color channels, that means you scanned your image in color and not black and white. You can go up to Image Mode and change it into grayscale to get it back to black and white. So we're in the Channels window, and you want to come down here to the bottom, this little dotted square icon. If you hover over it for a little bit, it says Load Channel as Selection. So we're just going to click on that. And this is really simple. It seems really simple, and I wish I had learned this years ago because it's super easy. All you do is hit Delete. Then we're going to come back into the Layers panel, and then we're going to deselect, which is Command D, or you can come up to Select and go to Deselect. And then we are going to lock these transparent pixels. We're going to talk a lot about locking these pixels later. That's how we're going to color in our images basically. But for now, just know that it is letting those pixels that are there, so basically what's colored in black, the line work, it's going to lock it so you can't affect any other parts of the layers. So I'm locking it, and I'm coming up to Edit and Fill. And then we're going to fill it in because see how some of the detail got lost and it got really light? Just make sure that this says black. You want the opacity 100, mode normal, and this should kind of be the default. If it's not, you can just go from the drop down and choose black. Press OK. And now you can see how that became filled in. So I'm going to add a new layer of white behind it. So make sure you're in your Layers panel here, and click this little icon that looks like a piece of paper, create new layer. I'm going to just click and drag it down to the bottom. I'm going to go into my paint bucket tool. If you don't see it, it might be hidden behind the gradient tool, and we want white. So if you have a bunch of other colors in here, you can just click on the little boxes to get you back to black and white, and then click on the arrow to make white on the top, because the paint bucket is going to use whatever color is on top, whatever is your foreground color. And just click anywhere, make sure you're on the new layer that you created. And I'm going to start naming the layers because we're going to get into a lot of layers, and naming them might seem annoying, but it is really important for later and it will end up saving you time. So we just double click to change the name, and I'm going to call this background white in case we have other colors. And layer 0, again, double click on it, and I'm going to call this line work. And so now we know what everything is.